Hello, Namaste from Bodhi Surf Yoga. Today we have an all-level practice, and when I mean all-level practice, it's very important to be careful. If you have any injury or something that your body's not ready for it, just don't push your body. This is more about understanding and trusting the breath. What do we need today? We need 2 blocks. If you don't have blocks at home, we're really gonna need it just for one posture, and I'll give you a variation. So don't worry if you don't have 2 blocks, you can still do the practice. We are gonna do a posture that is about creating a strength and flexibility at the same time. We hope you enjoy it. So we're gonna begin by focusing the attention on what is the most important part of the practice, the breath. So go ahead and close your eyes. Try to sit in a comfortable position. If you need to sit on a block or a pillow or something to feel comfortable, go ahead and do so. Try to elongate the spine as much as you can. Close your eyes and soften the muscles around your face. Bring the index and thumb together and release your hands down on your knees. And let's begin by paying attention to the breath. Inhaling. Exhaling. Continue there, feeling yourself breathing. Allow the breath to become the center of this practice today. So try to breathe the same amount of inhalation, same amount of exhalation. Hopefully, as you pay attention to the breath, you're allowing your mind to come into this present moment, into the right here and right now. And notice how good it feels to drop the thoughts for a moment and just be here, where life really happens. As we hold this position, try to memorize the rhythm of the breath. So maybe you can continue with this type of breathing, with this rhythm for the rest of the practice. Let's take one last breath. And as you exhale, you're gonna slowly open your eyes. And we're gonna begin the postures of the practice. So we're gonna step first in table pose. Align your knees in line with the hips, your wrists in line with the shoulders. Glue the fingertips into the floor and especially press the index and thumb into the floor. And we're gonna start moving up the spine. So as you inhale, you're gonna drop the shoulder blades, curve the spine and look all the way up. And as you exhale, you're gonna draw the belly in, tuck the chin in. 4 more times, inhale. Exhale. Third one, inhaling. Exhaling. 2 more, inhale. Make it as deep as it can be. Exhale, draw the belly in towards the spine and try to spread the shoulder blades apart. And one last time, inhale, bring the shoulder blades in. Shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, draw the belly in. Tuck the chin in. Separate each vertebra as much as you can. Now come back to center. And from here, keep the spine straight. Draw the belly in a little bit so you don't curve the lower back. And we're going to step into plank pose. You can use the knees if you want to. Press the knees down to the floor. Now come on up. And here, we're going to hold it all together. 5 breaths. Inhale, 1. 2. Let's use the strength of the mind. 3. Keep drawing the belly in. Keep that spine strong. We're almost there. 4. And the last one. 5. And then as you exhale, you're going to root the fingertips down to the floor and start lifting the hips all the way up. Let's come into downward facing dog. Now, if this is the first down dog and your body feels tight, feel welcome to bend the knees a little bit so you can actually elongate the spine a little bit more. If you feel comfortable on your down dog, try to stand the legs, elongate the arms, and try to bring the chest down without pushing too hard on your shoulders. Let's hold it here, one more breath. And now on the next inhale, we're gonna rock back and forth. So inhale, coming up again into plank pose. Exhale, move back into downward facing dog. 2 more times. Inhale, rock back into plank pose. Hold it for a moment. Exhale, back into Adho Mukha Svanasana down dog. Last time, inhale, roll back into plank. Exhale, back into downward facing dog. Hold it here for a moment. And as we inhale, we're going to step with the right foot between the hands. If you have sensitive knees, you can bend the mat or even put a towel on your knee. Otherwise, just place the left knee down onto the floor, sink the pelvic floor down, and coming up. Let's come into lunge pose. Take your hands into your lower back. Sip the belly in as you land. Bring the pelvic floor down, and let's hold it here. And breathe deeply, bringing the elbows and shoulder blades back. Opening up the chest. Breathing slowly. One last breath here. And as we exhale, we're going to take the hands down and we're going to walk the front foot, the right foot, to the edge of the mat. And after that, we're going to lift the inside of the front foot if the knee and the hip doesn't bother you. With the right hand, you're going to touch the inside of the right knee and creating resistance. You're going to pull that right knee back as you bring the knee in and drop the left hip down. Open up your chest and breathe. Exhale, come back down. Come back into the lunge pose. Hand down on the floor, curl the back toes under, lift the back knee and step back in down dog. Let's move to the second side. So as you inhale, bring the left foot softly into your hands. Drop the back knee down to the floor, coming up, and again, sink the hips all the way down. Lift up the chest, open your chest as you engage the shoulder blades together on the back. Stay there, one last breath. And as you exhale, let's take the hands down again and let's start walking the feet to the edge of the mat. Lift up the inner edge of the front foot. The right hand is going to stay flat on the floor, and with the left hand, we're going to pull the inside of that knee. But at the same time, we're pulling the left knee in and we're twisting. Chest up. Drop, keep dropping that right hip down. Last breath. And as we exhale, bring the foot back flat into the floor, walk the foot back to center, hands down on the floor, curl the back toes under and lift up the back knee. And then again, let's come back into down dog. Now we're gonna move into Vinyasa. Variation number 1, if this is too much for you, rest in child pose. Variation number 2, do the Vinyasa but use the knees down to the floor. Variation number 3, do full Vinyasa. So inhale, come up to plank. Again, use the knees into the floor if you need to. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, press with the hands down on the floor, coming up. Exhale, down dog. Let's repeat it 2 more times. Inhale, coming up to plank. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. And the last one. Inhale, up to plank. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, lift up from the belly up to the top of the head. Exhale, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. And from here, as we inhale, we're gonna bring the right foot right between the hands. We're gonna drop the back heel down onto the floor. But first, we're gonna come up into Virabhadrasana 2. From here, variation number 1, the elbow is gonna touch on the quadricep, and you're just gonna lift the left arm up. Hold it here and work on sinking the hips and keeping the back leg strong. Variation number 2, whether it's using a block right on the floor or the hand flat on the floor, you're gonna press the hand flat on the floor. Externally rotate the right shoulder, and you're gonna notice you're bringing the right knee out. Bring the pelvic floor in and keep the back leg strong. Lift up the arm. Variation number 3, hand goes down on the floor. Now you can hold it here. If you know you're binding, internally rotate the left shoulder and bring the hand back. This is only for people who have experience, have a teacher, and know how to bind. Don't force it on your shoulders. Try to keep the chest in line with the quadriceps and see if you can bind your hands behind. Hold it here. And relax into the pose. Okay, we're releasing the pose. Those of you binding, you're gonna take the hand down, opposite arm up. Keep the foundation strong and inhale, coming up, back to Virabhadrasana 2. Now from here, we're gonna turn to the second side. Just to show the binding, I'm gonna go on the opposite side. So let's remember the variation. Variation number 1, elbow on the thigh, arm up. Variation number 2, hand on the block or the floor. Again, what we're trying is to bring the hip down without bringing the tailbone back. Keep drawing the tailbone in as you pull gently with the knee to the knee out. Okay. If you want to do the binding, internal rotation of the right shoulder, and see if you can bind your hands behind and hold it here. Keep the back leg strong and relax on your breath. Very good. We're gonna release the pose. If we're binding, arms up. Keep grounding your legs. Keep the legs strong. Keep grounding your feet down to the floor. And inhale, we're coming back up, back into Virabhadrasana 2. Stay there. I'm gonna just show it from the other side. And from here, we're gonna bring the feet parallel. We're gonna do side extensions. Variation number 1, you're gonna bend the right knee and you're gonna press the hand down on your thighs. This is enough, and you can rotate, breathing in and out to both sides. Let's begin here. Inhaling, exhaling. Inhale, exhale. Now, for those of you who feel more comfortable, perhaps we can all go all the way down. Lift up the toes, hands to the front, bend the knee, and maybe we keep the heel down onto the floor. And we alternate here, and we're walking the hands. Inhaling, exhale. Now, for the last variation, if you feel comfortable, the hands are gonna go on the front, and we move from here. Inhale, exhale. A few more times. Inhale, exhale. We're almost there. Last one. Inhale, and exhale. Come back to center. And from here, take your hands down to the floor if you have your hands up, and come on up. Bring the feet parallel. Maybe join them together a little bit more. Take your hands on the hips. With the back straight, you're coming up, inhaling. And as we exhale, we're gonna step into mountain pose right on the front of the mat. So, we're gonna do one sun salutation. Skip it if this is too much for you. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, extend the spine, look up. Exhale, come into plank pose. Hold it here, Chaturanga. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Now let's bring the knees down to the floor. Now let's play a little bit. This will be the challenge of the day. So, you're gonna need the 2 blocks for this, but if you don't have 2 blocks in the house, you're gonna, instead of what we call Lolasana, I'm gonna show different angles. You can just hold it in Navasana and move the knees in and out. Knees in and out. For those of you who have the 2 blocks, again, I'm gonna show different angles. You're gonna have the blocks next to the hips. I like to move them a little bit forward, so I have a space for my hips to come up. The hands are gonna be flat on the floor. All those of you who have been in my classes, I think you guys have done this challenge. So we're gonna alternate between Lolasana and Navasana. So we're gonna cross the feet and the legs right in front of the chest, and as much as you can, try to bring the knees in. Take your hands flat on the blocks, and then as we lift up in Lolasana, don't worry if you cannot go all the way up. Exhale, release, come up in Navasana, whether it's like here or extend the legs. Let's hold it 3 breaths. 1, 2, 3. Let's repeat. I'm gonna change the angle. Cross the legs, Inhale, Lolasana. Exhale, Navasana. Bend the knees or legs straight. 1, 2, 3. Cross the legs again. This is the last one. Bring the knees in. I know we're all suffering, okay? Bring the knees in. Hug that belly, okay? Place the hands on the block. Last push with a strong mind. Inhale up. Exhale. 3 breaths, Navasana. You're gonna thank me later. 1, 2, 2.5, and 3. Release and extend the legs. And move the blocks to the side. I hope you enjoyed the game. Okay, we're gonna start slowing down a little bit, so bring the sit bones back. Try to lengthen in the spine. Let's do a little bit of Dandasana. So we're gonna bring the hands back, shoulder blades back, and elongate the spine. Bring the chin in. This might help us to have a better Paschimottanasana. So keep the legs strong, like you wanna ground the back of the knees down to the floor. And hold it there as you focus the attention on the breath. Inhaling. Exhale. Okay, from here, we're gonna release Dandasana and inhale, take the arms up, elongate the spine, hollow the belly, and as you exhale, move the belly towards the knees, bring your hands forward. You can grab the big toes, you can grab the side of the foot. If you're not reaching your feet, don't worry, just place the hands on the sides or use a strap, a belt, a towel. Finally, interlock the fingers behind. If you want to make it more intense, elongate the spine. And as you exhale, come all the way in a forward. Keep resting into the pose. Don't worry so much about how the pose looks, if you're touching the feet or not. The important thing when we do asana practice is not how good it looks, how flexible it looks. It's how much benefit we're doing into the body. We're just working on opening the body, making it more supple. So that way we can feel more comfortable into our own skin. Now, don't release the pose yet. Extend the spine as you inhale. And as you exhale, now you're gonna release the pose. We're gonna do one last sitting pose. We're gonna bend the right knee and cross it over the left. The left leg is gonna continue straight and is nailing to the floor. Try to keep the foot flat, the right foot flat, and we're gonna start twisting, rounding the base of the sit bones and the tailbone and the spine. We're gonna keep the lengthening of the spine and start twisting. This is variation number 1, and this is enough. Variation number 2, maybe you can bring the arm across and you're gonna notice maybe you curve the spine a little bit more now. Variation number 3, only for people who have the experience. You're gonna bring the hand behind and bind your hands all the way behind. Now the tendency is gonna be for the spine to curve, so we're gonna keep grounding the tailbone and twisting. Inhaling and exhaling. One last breath. Inhale and exhale. Now, look back to the front, release the posture, come back to center, and switch. And let's repeat the variations on the second side. Cross the left foot on top of the right leg. Feel that leg's straight and strong. Ground the sit bones. Variation number 1 can be this. Hugging the leg and twisting. Variation number 2. You bring the arm in front and you try to again ground the sit bones, lengthening the spine and twist from there. Let's try to come from here to here and more. You can open the spine a little more and keep lengthening the spine. Variation number 3, if you feel comfortable, you know you're binding, you have done it before, go ahead and bind. Keep breathing and relaxing into the pose. That's the tricky thing to learn in the asana. Everything comes when we relax more. Now look back to the front, release the pose. Okay, and then bend the knees. We're gonna move down to the floor. You're probably gonna need a block so take your hands behind your thighs and vertebra by vertebra move all the way down to the floor. As we reach the floor, we're gonna bring the heels as close as we can to the sit bones. We're gonna walk the fingertips towards the heels and then press the foot down to the floor, especially the inner edge of the foot. Come on up. Keep bringing the shoulder blades in and see if you can interlock the fingers. Press the hands as you pull the hips up. You can stay here or you can try to see if you can come with your hands on your ankles and inhale, lift the hips up. Keep breathing there. Keep those hamstrings strong so you can pull yourself up maybe a little bit more. Avoid the tendency for the knees to come out. Try to bring the knees in. And as you keep pushing down to the floor, keep lifting the hips up. One last breath. And then as you exhale, you're gonna relax all the way down. Bring the knees all the way to the chest. Take a moment here, maybe even rock to the side so you can massage your back. Now let's come to center. And before we close the class, we're gonna bring the block and put it under the sacrum. If you don't have a block, just bring a pillow, a couple of pillows or something where you can elevate your hips. Take the arms to the sides and inhale, lift the legs up and hold it there. Close your eyes. And just work on the breath. Noticing the benefits of all the practice we just did. Keep feeling the in-breath, the out-breath. The inhale, the exhale. Very good. As we exhale, we're gonna bend the knees. You turn your feet on the mat. Lift up the hips so you can remove the block and lay down. And maybe move the knees to the side to loosen up on the lower back. Come to center now. Prepare yourself for Shavasana, so slowly drop the legs down. Separate the legs so the skin is not touching. Lift up the shoulder, walk them away from the ears and relax the arms to the sides. Close your eyes and enjoy the benefits of the practice. Shavasana is a very important and powerful pose. It's a moment where we get to relax the nervous system after all this practice. So enjoy your Shavasana. Make it a sacred part of the practice. Skipping the Shavasana in Asana practice is not a good idea. Allow your body to rest before you come back. Namaste.